let's talk about the book of Revelation, because all of these things that we're talking about in Revelation, they're not literal. They are celestial events. We spoke about them in the previous videos, but we're going to see on the 23rd. Okay. So let's think about this as I go over the scriptures of Revelation and show you exactly what's going to be going on. So first line says, and a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. Okay, let's stop right there. Let's refer back to this. You can see there is a woman here who is clothed with the sun at her head, and the moon is under her feet. So far we can see that what the Bible is saying we can account for on this event for September 23rd. This is going to get real deep. Let's go back and get some more. So it says she was pregnant and was crying out in birth pains and the agony of giving birth. Okay, and it says, and another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his head 7 diadems. So a total of 17 items. Now that dragon is known as Hydra. And this is the dragon that the woman accompanied this great whore. Now let's count the stars that make up the constellation of Hydra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So this scripture ought to make sense to you when it says, and there appeared a sign in heaven, a great red dragon with the 7 heads and 10 horns. Now let me show you how this is going to look in the sky. Okay, bear with me. So this is what we're going to be seeing in the sky, supposedly September 23rd. And when they say that Jesus will slay the dragon, you can see that the foot of Leo is on the neck of the dragon. You can also see the symbolism of okay, hold on. Let me access some stuff. Let me find something. Just bear with me. All right. So you will notice that when this go down, okay, I think this will be a good one here. Look like the same one I had. Well, what I'm trying to show you is that Virgo and Hydra will be parallel to each other. So Virgo will be lined up with Hydra, and the head of Hydra is near the foot of Leo. Sorry for that. So let's go back to the scripture, because Leo is Jesus, and he's coming with the scales or a rod to do battle. Now, if you learn about Irish equinox, they call this time the dragon being the dragon being pinned by the spear. What do they mean by the dragon being pinned by the spear? The planets will be in a perfect alignment with the foot of Leo, as if Leo is holding a rod, slaying the dragon. So when Jesus defeats the dragon in Revelation, he's defeating him with a rod, according to a lot of texts. And that rod is the alignment that's going to align right on a foot as if Leo would be holding this alignment in his hands as a rod. And you will see this in a lot of mythology, like Dragon Slayer and different things like that. In fact, I got a couple of them here that I can share with you. Just bear with me because I have so many tabs open. There's different depictions that'll show you this same thing, not only in Christian texts with Revelation, but in many. Here's a artistic depiction of Jesus slaying a dragon. And remember, Jesus is Leo, and the sword is the alignment that's in the hands of Leo the lion. And Leo's hands is right at the neck of the dragon. So in a lot of the myth, the dragon is beheaded. More art for you that will show you this. For example, in Kemet, you can see the same concept in Kemet right here. So everyone did this constellation. You can see that the shape of that deity slaying a dragon, shapes like Virgo. If you look at the Virgin Virgo constellation, it's the goddess with her hands raised as if she's spearing something, or with her archbow, because this can be looked at as many ways. Not everyone acknowledged Jesus. So if you take away Leo and expand and just put Virgo there and think of Virgo holding a long spear, then Virgo can actually slay the neck of the dragon as well, because where that alignment would end still would be by the neck of Hydra. So you can take away Leo and have what you're looking at right now that was in Kemet, because they didn't have, everyone had this thing in a different way. But it's the same thing, the slaying of the dragon. Before we move on, we'll check out just a few more, just to show you that this alignment is nothing new, and that a lot of people around the earth are aware of it. But today, for some reason, they telling us the world gonna end, and that Nibiru has all of these planetary systems with it that's aligned and gonna cause cataclysm. But we're gonna get deep into this video, and we're gonna show you what's really going on. So let's check out just a few more, and then we're gonna get back to the biblical scriptures to show you exactly what's going on. We want to give you these images as a visual. Here you can see Virgo, and she has the moon beneath her feet, just like you see here, Virgo, with the moon at the very bottom. And I want you to keep this image in your head, because this is the moon goddesses, with the moon crest beneath their feet that I show y'all all the time. Remember that Jesus is the Lamb and the Lion of Judah. In this picture, you see the lamb with the rod. That rod is the planetary alignment. Now we're going to get deep into this, and we also made the connection that Hydra, all right, Hydra, what we're seeing here is parallel to the Virgin and her child, which is Leo, and her child is equipped with a rod, and they make war with the beast. They crush the head of the serpent, crush the serpent head of Hydra. Now this is called astrotheology. We can see this in so many ways, all over different arts through different times. And today we're going to make so much sense of it that you're going to be able to explain it and teach it just like I'm doing here. So, like we left off here. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his head 7 diadems. Before we move forward, we got to get this in our head. This beast is Hydra. And Hydra is aligned with the Virgin and her child, Judah, Jesus, Leo. But what we want to pay attention is to the details they're giving us of this serpent, this dragon. Let's read it one more time. It had 7 heads and 10 horns, but the 7 heads but on the head was 7 diadems. That's very specific. So it's telling us it's a total of 17 items, but 7 of those 17 is located on the head. That's actually how I'm interpreting it, but I can be wrong. I actually turned out to be spot on, dead right. Let's count them one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's a 17 total items that makes up Hydra. We can see what they're telling us here in that text in Revelation. And 7 of these 17 is located in the head area, starting with the neck right here. So I don't know if you can see my mouse cursor, but starting in the neck, you have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this biblical scripture is not prophecy. Why are you saying that, Brother Sanchez? It's prophesying something that's happening on the 23rd. No, it's not. All right, this is something that was predicted with science and just studying the stars. It's not prophecy if I tell you that it's going to be summer again next year. It's just that there are celestial events that take place over longer spans of time. And it's so many years pass by, deception can take place as we see going on here. But I get into that in the previous videos. We're going to go deeper into this revelation concept in this video. So we got Hydra identified, and this scripture's got it. I mean, it's dead on. Now let's move on to the next part of this. It said his tail swept down 1/3 of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. This is very, very important. This is telling you that the dragon is standing beside the woman. This is also telling you that the tail of this dragon goes all the way down. All the way down its alignment. Let's go back and check it out. Again, the scripture is dead on. You see the woman aligned with this dragon or Hydra, and you see that its tail goes all the way down this celestial alignment. Let's check out some more depictions of this. So here's another one here. You can see Virgo, the moon beneath her feet. You can see her child Leo above her head because her head is clothed with the sun. And Hydra aligned with them both, about to be slayed by her son, okay, which is Jesus in Revelation. So what else am I missing out here? The moon beneath her feet is something we want to pay attention to. The moon beneath her feet, okay, because you see this all the time. Check this out. Here's some art here. You see the virgin with the moon beneath her feet, get ready to give birth. All right, and you see a lot of ancient goddesses. For example, this is some nice art right here. Let's check it out. I like it. So, but besides this art, what we see is also the moon goddesses that I always talk about. For example, let's go with I think Isis, or okay, because you in a lot of these you see, for example, the goddess with the moon beneath her feet. I can show y'all some more. Right now I'm having a brain fart, but there's actually a lot of these goddesses. Hold on. For example, here you see this goddess here. If you pay attention to her belly, it is pregnant. So this is old Wiccan concepts here, and these predate the Bible. And we see this same concept here even in the Wiccan tradition. In fact, this event that we're about to see right now is known as the Witches' New Year. So this is New Year's for all of the witches around the world. And it'll I think end in October 1st. As you can see here again, the goddess with the moon crest beneath her feet, and she also have an archbow. And that would be the planetary alignment. Sometime Leo isn't there. Remember, everyone can look up at those stars and make their own story up however they want it to be. But the earliest one was the goddess with the long rod slaying the dragon. And I guess Leo came to be somewhere along the line of Judah when she gave birth, I guess. But you can see even in this picture, she has the child in her breast. So for the most part, Leo was up there. You can see this thing, you know, all of the ancients, including the witches, have this in their traditions. So Leo, I guess, would be considered right here. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Leo is the pregnant womb. So in this particular art, you see for example, Virgo, this virgin goddess with her feet on the moon. And that's the same thing we have here, Virgo with her feet on the moon. Now, if you look at Virgo on this little diagram here, Virgo's arms are raised. This is a biblical concept that we're going over, but I'm showing you a concept here that predates the biblical one. And this is a Wiccan concept, or the witch's concept. Me personally, I am a witch, or in a male perspective, but I guess that would be a wizard. So this is for all of my witches and my wizards. This is our new year. And this is known as Sabbat, which later became the word Sabbath, which takes place on Saturday or Saturn Day. When they came with Saturnalia, they hid all of this behind other concepts that hid the true natural time clock. Temples around the world, including certain witch sites, still are aligning with this great celestial event. And the Druids and the Irish concepts is still perfect and very accurate with this. And we'll be going over that here in the future. Tonight is just an intro into another area of this phenomenon, what we're going to be going into, because really the first two videos was more like an intro. So let's keep going. You see the arms raised here, just like we see here with Virgo. You see Leo, all right, which is the child that she is pregnant with. All right. And you can see Leo here, which is in the middle of Virgo, or you see, which would be her belly. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because when we go back here and we see the alignment, it's going to all make sense. So let's check out some more concepts, and we're going to move right along. I just wanted to let y'all know that the goddess with her feet on the moon is something that we see all the time. And you know, you want to keep this image in your head, because here is Virgo with her foot on the moon. But now we're going to move on to our next scripture here. So his tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. As you can see here, Hydra's tail sweep down in parallels with all of the stars of the heaven. And in that scripture, they're referring to the 7 wandering stars, which is making the rod of Leo. Okay. Jupiter, Venus, Regulus, and the sun. This is very interesting stuff here. Now, it's something I'm missing out, though. But I guess it'll come to me in a minute. We're not going to really trip. We'll keep going because I don't want to waste no time. So voice is kind of hoarse. I'm up late, can't sleep because I'm just obsessed with this event. And I just think it's awesome. I can see Hydra in the sky. And this stuff is just interesting. So let's move on right here. She gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Let's stop right there. This virgin woman, and I'm going to take you slow. This virgin woman gave birth to a child, in this case would be Leo, and he was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. This is a very symbolic scripture. Here is the child, Leo, as a close-up zoom here. And that rod of iron is the planetary alignment. But when they say that Leo would rule all of the nations with this rod, it means every continent on the earth is going to see Leo with his rod. And this right here will debunk the globe and prove that the earth is flat, because no matter what continent you are on, you're going to be able to see this alignment in your sky, whether it's day or night time. And equinox mean equal night, equal day. And during this time, they're telling you that the earth axis just goes away somehow. How does that happen? Now, I'll get deeper into that in the future. I did in previous videos, but you keep your scripture in mind. And if you notice Genesis 49:10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah. Judah is this lion that you're looking at. And it says that the scepter shall not depart from Judah. I'm in my preacher's voice right now. Okay, let's make this fun. You notice that the scepter has a star in it called Regulus. And the sun, Venus, Jupiter. This is very important because during this time, Jupiter would be the brightest star, I think on the 19th to 20th. And it's going to rise before the sun on one of these days. Jupiter will actually rise on a horizon with Venus, and it will be aided by Venus. This is very important because there was a movie called Jupiter Ascension. And in the movie, they showed us this, guys. This exactly is how we're going to see Jupiter rise on a horizon coming up toward these days. Now, I just had an article up that explained to me when Jupiter would actually ascend. I forgot, was it on the 20th or the 21st? But Jupiter will ascend with Venus, and it's going to be another great celestial event coming up to this alignment. But so there's a lot of aspects to this alignment that we see coming into play. And the certain events started at the beginning of September. September 7, this is the end of the week. Sunday is not the Sabbath. 7 is equivalent to Saturday. Saturday is the last day of the week. Remember, the calendar is wrong. That's why that one day that we're off is got something to do with this leap year deception as well. And this wobbly axis that stands upright during certain times. But what it is during certain times, their deception is exposed, and it's proven that we never was wobbling on the axis. It's balanced all the time, even when the alignment dissipates. But this alignment reminds us that we're on a flat earth and that the stars above are making the circuit around the Great Mother. So Jupiter will be ascending at some point during the time span of this celestial event. This is why they gave you the movie Jupiter Ascending. And this is this famous scene in Jupiter Ascending where Jupiter ascends on the horizon, just like we will see it on that great day. So there's a lot of ways they tell us this. We're going to move on. I'll get deep into this as we go on. I'm going to be touching on this for many, many days to come. So she gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And we just want to keep that locked in our mind, that the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. I want you to really, 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 really think about that second line, my brothers and sisters. Really think about that, right? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, meaning this alignment, right? It's his scepter, and it shall not depart from Judah. Now let's zoom in on this second part of this scripture. Nor a lawgiver from between his feet. If you look between the Lion of Judah's feet, there's a star called Regulus, and the word Regulus means regulate. This would be the equivalent of Ma'at in between Sun and Venus. What's so special about it is to regulate, is to bring balance, or to make something regular. When something is regular, it is medium or balance. It's not to this or not to that. It's just regular. Okay, so the star Regulus would be in between the hands of Judah. And this, he will regulate with this scepter. For example, Ma'at will judge you. When it say Jesus will judge you, the judge he's a regulator. All right, he regulates in the courtroom and bring forth balance. Okay, so nor a lawgiver from between his feet. And between the feet of Judah, you see Regulus, that lawgiver. Now let's keep reading. Until Shiloh comes unto him, shall the gathering of the people be. So the gathering of the people is the alignment. And until Shiloh comes, and unto him shall this alignment take place, and then it's going to dissipate and go away. Shall the gathering of the people be. So the scripture is dead on once again. So I'm going to close this tab. Matter of fact, we'll keep it open just in case we have to refer to it later. So picture the scepter in the hands of Leo here. You can see Regulus between his feet. And he has his scepter ready to slay Hydra by beheading this great dragon. And beheading is something that's very known in the Middle East, where you see they have women desecrated just like the great whore. Everything we do is aligned to these celestial events, and the mythology that we indoctrinate ourselves with, we inject into our reality. So the woman is the most oppressed creature on earth. And we see here that it's time for Mother Nature to be restored. And it's going to be great, brave men like me and many others that's going to be swinging that scepter, because we are the children and the archangels of this virgin, which is Mother Nature. All right. And we will be slaying this beast, this new world order system. But this celestial event is so beautiful. And even this whole thing with Hydra, I was looking at the sky last night, tonight, and I can see Hydra. And Hydra is just one of the most awesome, constellations. This serpent, this Nagini. It's nothing to fear. You don't look up in the sky and say, hey, I don't like that constellation. This is just a beautiful way to tell this story. Don't hate Hydra. Hydra is a beautiful concept. So this is a beautiful story that the Bible have, but it's just that the Bible links this with doomsday, because the heliocentrists that told this story wanted to end the world at this time because they knew that their phony calendar would run out. So it's going to be harsh times for us, because this beast's not going to go easily. So Hydra would be the equivalent of the powers that be today. Remember, everything happens in our world is as above, so below. And you can read the stars to see what's happening in society. So let's move on with the scripture. She gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all nations with a rod of iron. All nations will witness this event, and they will see Leo with this rod of iron. So ruling all nations, you can picture this scepter as a ruler. And you can just look at Leo as the ruler, or Jesus, right? God, to you Christians. Now, he rule or regulate with this scepter, and Regulus is between his feet. All nations will acknowledge this event. Day or night, you still see the same celestial objects in your sky. I don't know how the visibility would be based on, it being day or night. But this is going to be something we all witness, just like the Bible say, every knee shall bow and every eye shall see Jesus coming back to slay the beast, or Leo with the scepter. This right here will debunk the 7,000-year-old heliocentric lie. And I think that it's very symbolic. We understand that it's 7,000 years old, because 7 is septos, Remember, the number 7 dominates this time. Many of you have been seeing 7s everywhere. You in septos. This is the end of the celestial year and the beginning of a new year. The 7,000 years ago, we was in a different paradigm. So this is another way you can look at years. You could say this is a great year, or the Mayan year. Again, the witch's New Year's of the witch. So let's continue here. What we got now, she gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Okay, but her child was caught up to God and to his throne. Now, I don't know what they meaning by that. Let me see what they're trying to say. Was caught up to God and with his throne. Okay, I guess another way of saying he's regulating. I don't know what to take from it. Maybe we'll pick it up when we read the rest. It says, after that, the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God in which she is to be nourished for 1,260 days. Now, the woman fled, meaning the alignment dissipated. Of course, it's going to come and go. So there we see that it's the end of the alignment. And I guess it will be the foot of the moon or the Virgo that will be fleeing first. So when I want y'all to pay attention to that, if you're going to be acknowledging this event, when it dissipates, let's see which part of the alignment dissipates first. We're going to be looking for the bottom half, or the half toward the Virgin's foot, which would be the moon crest or the anchor. And we're going to be looking for that to dissipate first. So we were going to be looking for this to dissipate from the bottom and then fall like a jingle block set toward the top, moving toward Leo and the head of the dragon, which is another way of saying he's slinging that scepter as it dissipates. The dragon dissipates from the neck first, I guess. You see, this is going to be awesome because this alignment dissipates starting, I guess, with the moon. And when you swing a rod, you're swinging it from the back end off of the foot. So if you think of the goddess, like I showed you in the previous picture in Kemet, swinging a rod off of her back foot, because she's swinging it down on the head of the dragon from off of her back foot. And you look at the placement of Virgo, if you remove Leo, you could very well say that Virgo is slaying this dragon. But we're going to keep Leo there because we don't want to confuse you. Leo is going to be visible, holding the scepter, but Leo will be slaying the dragon. Virgo has given birth to her child, which be protecting her. And so, yes, we're going to look for it to dissipate, starting with Virgo. And we're going to also look forward to a line starting from the head of the dragon, because the dragon appears first before the woman and child make war. I'm not that, I'm kind of guessing right now, but I'm thinking that's the gist of this. But now we're going to just move on and just go back into the biblical text. Now war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. Okay, yes, because now all of these alignment, they're dissipating. Remember, for the dissipation to take place, let's go back to the alignment. It'll start from the foot of Virgo. The rod of the lion would start at the foot of the moon, and the moon will be aligned with the rod. Think of her foot where the moon is here. It's going to be aligned with Regulus, going toward the neck of that. There are going to be 7 planets in between here. That's what's going to make the rod of Judah, the scepter of Judah. You see here? It's going to start at her foot with the moon, and this alignment is going to end on that dragon's neck, as you can see here. It's going to end on his neck. And when it dissipates, the snake head is going to fall off. It's going to be a beautiful celestial event to witness, brothers and sisters. But it's going to be a very time where we're going to be just kind of looking out for the government to be using this to actually make it seem like the book of Revelation is so prophetic. And when this is going down, they might be bumming us, saying that, hey, this is Christ coming back, or Nibiru clashing. Think about the blue beam videos that's been leading up to this event, and it's all been for a reason. Think about the flat earth movement. We beyond proven curvature and lack of spin now. We are entering the age of Zion, or the New Jerusalem. It's going to be a 7-year period starting from now, because 7 is the number. 7 is like 1. It's like they're counting by sevens in numerology. You have to start locking this concept in your head, just paying attention to all of this. Think of the 7 diadems that's in the head of the beast. This number 7, they're trying to tell us something. It's the Sabbath. The 7th day is Saturday, Sabbat. This celestial event is linked to Sabbat. Now, you are confused because when I say the 7th day is Saturday, it's just hard for you to digest that, but we've been lied to, brothers and sisters. So when this thing dissipate, the woman gonna flee into the wilderness. That alignment, that scepter gonna swing toward the neck of that serpent, and then the serpent gonna scatter the pieces starting from the neck. His head will be cut off. That serpent is also symbolic to the divine mother. And a lot of women are beheaded in the Middle East. I think that's something that's very symbolic. So now that you got this concept in your mind, let's continue. When the dragon, okay, we're skipping here, let's go here. And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. So when it say the dragon and his angels fought back, when the moon starts to dissipate, starting with Virgo, and she starts to flee into the wilderness, the scepter that's going to be aligned, because the scepter is going to come right across here, and like I said, in on the dragon's neck. And when this thing dissipate, the dragon will be beheaded. And when they say his angels will make war again before he finally die, you know, a serpent, when you cut the head off of it, it wiggle around a little bit before it dies. Yes, even worms do it too. So when he dissipates, okay, it's like an action of them swinging that scepter to chop his head off. And when his angels make that final war, that final last Custer's last stand, for lack of better words, before he breathes his last breath, he'll try to fight back one more time, because all of these stars that's inside of Hydra will actually be going toward the moon. Everything's going to dissipate like a spiral, started from the Virgo's foot, and alignment coming right across from her foot to his neck is going to spiral around. And these stars here are going to appear to be heading back as it finally just goes away all completely and vanishes. And we wait for the next one, I think another 7,000 years. I'm just guessing. I mean, because this happens all the time, but it's just every couple of thousand years that it happens during equinox or September, Septos. Because if you look at the month, this is actually the 9th month in the Gregorian calendar because of Julius and Augustus adding their months. But if you count on your hand from January, September would be 7. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Now let's take away July and August and count again. January, February, March, April, May, June, skip July and August, September would be the 7th month. So if you want to do that, just count on your hands one more time, starting with January, And when you get to July and August, stop counting on your hands. Start back with September. You'll see September, we're really in the 7th month. And the really calendar would be 7/19/2017. But even the year is wrong because Jesus split the time on the Gregorian calendar and got us all thrown off. So they have the real calendar. The real calendar is built on the earth in all of these temples. And throughout the next series of this series of videos that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be getting into the alignments of all of these temples around the earth and showing you slides. But we got to deal with this celestial event and take it one step at a time. So let's continue. So when the head of the serpent is severed, and I think that's important to keep in mind. Severed is a word that's related to 7. So 7 means completion. When this thing is complete and this serpent is finally killed, it's going to look like his angels is making war one more time, but really he's just wiggling, taking his last breath before this whole thing dissipates, because the body of the serpent, or his children, his members, remember, your body is made of your members, is going to dissipate toward Virgo and Leo, and his head is going to kind of spiral outwards, dissipating. This is what I'm taking from this. Now we're going to go and move on. I think that pretty much break that down and show that we're dead on. Now let's move on. So his angels fought back, but he was defeated, okay? And there was no longer any place for them in heaven, okay, when the dissipation is, and this thing is finally over, okay? So let me give you something to look at, right, while I read to you. You don't have to look at the words because I'm doing a reading for you. Isn't that great? So you can lock your mind on this picture in front of you and look at the captions and look at Leo and look at, just pay attention to it. This is another little depiction. We're looking at this from another view because apparently from different parts of the earth, Leo is going to be holding his scepter from a different way. Some of us going to be looking Leo, for example, holding the scepter from this angle. And some of us will see it from this angle. All right. So this scepter of Leo is going to be like a big line sweeping our plane, linking together all of the areas and people on this earth, looking up at this big scepter, because remember, he's going to rule all of the nations of the earth, and every knee shall bow, every eye shall see him. This won't be possible on a globe, brothers and sisters. You see here Hydra, the serpent, crushed beneath the feet of King Judas. This is awesome stuff. So as y'all look at this picture here, I'm going to read some more of the scripture. So let's do that at this time. Let me see, where was I? So the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the world. He has thrown down the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. Again, the dissipation of this event. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of Christ have come. Remember, Regulus in between the hand. When you hold a scepter, you're holding it, all right, with both of your hands clenched, like you see Leo, and the balance would be where both of your fists meet, okay, and you swing. And that's exactly where Regulus is located, in the hands of Leo. One more time, I'll give you a mental image of that. You see Regulus there, and then we'll continue on with the scripture. So let me give you this back. So now, all right. So, okay. Let me see. Where was I? And a loud voice in heaven saying, the salvation, power and kingdom, authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them day and night before our God, and they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, for they love not their lives even unto death. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. When Hydra dissipates, everybody around the earth is going to be asking questions that flat earthers have been asking. When this event happens, the government is going to be in a panic. Your government is panicking right now, and that's the devil mad as hell. His time is short. So when Hydra dissipates, this celestial event is going to be symbolic to the 7 years of tribulation. This is called, let me pull it up one more time. I don't want to throw you off. This is called a Feast of the Trumpet. And you will notice that the equivalent of the trumpet is a bullhorn. And also you can see that God is holding a bullhorn. In this case, you see a grail in her hand, but you see the goddess with a bullhorn or the trumpet. You're in the year of the trumpet. Your president is named Donald Trump. This is the year the trumpets are sounding off, but you're not listening. They put Trump into office, and he's one of the loudest presidents, in American history. He's the most outspoken and loudest president. That was the trumpet that blew when he was elected. Remember, elected. We're dealing with the stars. Everything they do is linked to the stars. So Trump started this great tribulation period. The trumpet. And we'll go back to our scriptures in a minute. Speaking of Trump, I want to share this with you. Let's go over it real briefly. So the great tribulation is 7 seals, and let's go over them. So the 7 seals, the Antichrist and anarchy. Think of Trump. Think of your president, Trump. All right. Famine. That's what's coming next, because under Trump, we've been attacked with record-breaking hurricanes, and the map has been redrawn because certain areas have been flooded, and the areas that have been flooded are the irrigation and water system areas, the delta regions that's responsible for watering the bread baskets of America. So in the years to come, we're going to have big famines like you never saw before, based on them attacking us with these hurricanes. The hurricanes that's going on right now are them attacking the agriculture and the food, and also moving people around, displacing them for more controlled purposes. Now, because the hurricanes that's going on, it's going to be great famines, because they're flooding areas that the crops depend on in this nation. Keep that in your mind. We're at number 3 under the 7 seals list here. We're not going to move on yet, because I want to share some more information with you. This famine and these floods and these hurricanes, Harvey translates to battle ready. So Harvey was the initiation hurricane that sparked these series of hurricanes. They have another hurricane now that they say just started, and it's called Maria. And Maria translates to Mary, and Mary is the great whore, or the virgin Virgo that you see here. So this may be the final hurricane, brothers and sisters, and they say that female hurricanes are the most deadliest, and also this hurricane is also coincides the record-breaking earthquake in Central America. So we're at a time on our earth where the powers that be are manipulating nature with the most monstrous of all technologies, the most evil of all weaponry, which is weather weaponry. If you haven't been following along with my geoengineering videos on Bro Sanchez TV, you really need to do that to understand that they are creating this biblical event, and it's nothing that the heavens are attacking us and all of this nonsense. It's the powers that be trying to act out this book with their technology that they've been perfecting. They knew that they had to perfect this technology before their time run out. So we're at that time now. And it's going to be followed by famines. Let's pull this list back up. Okay, so Hurricane Harvey meant battle ready. Hurricane Irma means the goddess of war. Irma is a goddess of war. We're dealing with the goddess right now because this is the time of the goddess, or the dying of the moon. And I'll show you what I mean there in a minute. There's going to be a new moon during this time. And that's why it tells you that the virgin will disappear into the wilderness. Matter of fact, before we go on any further, let me go ahead and show you that so I can close out those tabs. If you look at this calendar for the moon phases of September, and we start around the time of the 19th, you see on the 19th there, new. All right. If you look here, there's 3 news. All right, from the 19th to the 21st, you're going to have a new moon. Now, this is very, very interesting. I don't know because I'm really not just an expert at the moon phases, but have we ever had a new moon that lasted 3 days? That's something we need to research, because I think this is the first time this will happen in like a couple of thousand years, and this is what's making this a biblical event, or what the ancestors call the greatest celestial alignment of all times. And those 3 days are symbolic to Christ dying and rising again on the 3rd day. Remember, he went down into hell to make war with the devil and got the keys to heaven and hell. He regulated. So we're seeing this same story that we're going over Revelation here in different stories all throughout the Bible in different ways. And we see this number 3 where the virgin, all right, will disappear into the wilderness, starting with the moon, and the moon is going to go away for 3 days according to this calendar, and it's going to reappear as a brand new source of light according to the ancients, a totally new moon. Now, the 3-day period is very interesting. This is, like I said, linked to that movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still, because globalists like to say the earth stopped spinning. It never was spinning. And this great alignment is going to prove that to all the people on earth, because, again, we're going to see the scepter of Judah across the entire plane, no matter what continent you're on. So the moon, again, will be a new moon at this time. So what else do I have? Because I'm going to close this new moon chart. I want to close some of these tabs because it confuses me. So again, Sabbath is the witches' Sabbath. And this date came about in the 1650s. Okay, and this is the witches' Sabbath, the French form of the Sabbath, or Sabbat. This would be the celestial Sabbath, what's going to take place here. Just like really Saturday is the last day of the week. So just like Saturday is the Sabbath or the last day of the week, on a macrocosmic level, this would be the last day of the celestial week or the great year, the Sabbat. Okay, so this is the witches' Sabbath. This is New Year for the witches. Remember that 7 is the last number, because when you get to 8, that just means reincarnation or rebirth, symbolizing Jesus being resurrected. Or again, those 3 moons that I just showed you, the 3 days that the moon will be a new moon. So let me kind of close out these pictures. Remember, I showed you a minute ago. Hold on, what is this? So this is something I'm not ready to go into yet. I want you to make it easy for me, and if you will, try to remember those previous pictures I just showed you from the 19th, I believe, to the 22nd on that moon calendar, how we're going to have a The moon is going to disappear for 3 days, apparently, or we're going to have a new moon. Keep that in your mind, just like we saw on that calendar. Keep that concept locked with the 3 days of Jesus being resurrected. Remember that he rose again on the Sabbath. Sabbath is September. We're in the 7th month right now. All of the sevens are lining up. So the lucky 7, meaning when all of these sevens at this time are lining up. And the Sabbath, all right, is where we're at now. The witches' New Year's. This marks the beginning of the winter time where we're gonna go and have less, sunlight, and it shows the balance of sunlight, moonlight, and the splitting of that equinox or equiniting day, and this alignment showing you how it's splitting the calendar. But it's confusing when we look at the Gregorian calendar. So what I'm doing now is showing you the ancient remnants that hid the truth. So let's keep going. You see that this is the witches' Sabbath, and something that I wanted to point out. Something I wanted to point out. All right. Sabotage, saboteur again. Okay. Yes, let me see something here. Just want to look at a little more etymology. All right. You see here. This is linked to Saturday or Saturday. Remember, Sunday for the sun, moon day, Monday. Saturday is Saturn or balance, Ale. I went over that in previous videos. And you're going to actually see Ale in the sky, meaning this whole event is centered around the pole. Okay? And you're going to see all of these alignments. And the North Star, remember, the pole, the North Pole is the centering, is what's creating this circuit. So let's move on. Let's move on. And excuse my hoarse voice. Let's go back to our tribulation chart. So we see after this, we're in the Feast of the Trumpet, according to many traditions, the year of the trumpet. And it's not a coincidence that Donald Trump is the president. Again, Donald can be translated to dawn, meaning the break of dawn. He symbolizes the blowing of the trumpet, Donald of the trump, the dawning of the trumpet. All right, Venus is the morning star, which is also very powerful. A lot of events centered around this huge event is going to be linked to Venus as well. You want to be watching the location of Venus, which is aligned to the pharaohs. Excuse me, let me move this out of the way for you. Hold on a minute. Here, let's blow it up a little bit and let me go ahead and show you here. Okay, basically what you don't see is the fact that Venus will be aligned to the great shaft of the pyramid, the tomb of the pharaoh. Hold on a minute though, because I want you to see that. Yeah, the other temple you saw here, we're gonna go over in a minute. Hold up. This here, because this alignment's going to take place in South America, just like there are going to be celestial things happening with the Great Pyramid at this time. It's going to be things in South America with those pyramids, but we'll get into that later. Here. So this is actually not the slide I wanted. If you bear with me, I'll get it for you right now. And thank you all again for tuning in, brothers and sisters. This is the most important event of your life. That's why I've been putting a lot of work into it. You see the Grand Gallery. All right. This actually gonna throw you off. Sorry guys. Let me find a better one. I have a habit of getting duplicates of things. So let's see. Maybe this shows Venus. One shows the location of Venus. Okay, I'm not going to waste too much of your time. So listen, just know that Venus will be aligned with okay, we'll move on with our scripture. Venus will be aligned with the tomb, symbolizing the king being rebirthed through the woman. So it's the morning star for a reason. Now let's go back here. Because if you look at this, you see Venus in Leo. But I don't want to stray from our great tribulation chart because I get to just going all over the place. Okay, so let's go here. We was talking about these famines and how Trump is the trumpet. We're in the feast of the trumpet, or the time of the trumpets. And Trump, the famines are going to come as a result of the hurricanes. Remember, Hurricane Maria may be the final hurricane because the Virgo is Mary or Maria. So that hurricane is linked to this alignment, because this hurricane right now is the hurricane that's going on during the time of these days of this alignment. And they named it Maria because the Virgin is going to start to appear in the sky now with Leo. So this is very important because it says after these floods, there's going to be famine. And I already told you how that's going to work. The areas flooded control our crop systems. So as a result of this, 1/4 of the earth will be slain. So number 5 says martyrs. There's going to be plenty of martyrs like myself. And, I hate to use this term, but many YouTubers who speaking out, when shit hits the fan and they can't answer these questions, what's making this time so hard on us is because this celestial event is going to make us start questioning their NWO system. It's falling apart. It can no longer sustain itself because Mother Nature is coming back in the sky to show everyone that the Gregorian calendar is a lie, and this alignment's going to prove that the earth is flat and stationary. Okay, the same Bible that's telling you this also tell you that it's flat. If it can be spot on with this alignment, just like the ancients who told you the earth is flat, why can't you wake up and realize the truth? That's what's going to be happening over the next 7 years. People are going to be really realizing the truth. They're going to be losing their fears of death. We're going to become brave. We're going to come. Oh, my heart just feels so good at this time. You be not afraid. There are going to be plenty martyrs. Okay. Because there are going to be plenty of people speaking up that's been getting away with it, that's not going to be getting away with it in these years to come. It's about to be hell for the truth speaker. And there's going to be people that's straying from the truth. There's going to be YouTubers shutting their mouth up. There are going to be people switching their stories up. There are going to be people saying, hey, it's not flat anymore. I think it's a globe. They're going to be the beast has to work in overtime now, because his lie is falling apart. This is the end of the New World Order, Gregorian calendar, deception, heliocentric lie. So after the martyrs, after the hurricanes, after the famines, what comes next? The earthquakes. If you think about this hurricane right now, Maria, or this Virgin, it was accompanied with a record-breaking hurricane in Central America. So your 7 seals, your 7 trumpets. Okay, now trees burn. We can see that. Sea turned to blood. If you think about the flood, they're spraying the people in Houston, and they're spraying these flooded areas with neurotoxin agents. And if you go to Richard from Boston channel, he covers that story. I can't cover them all. I'll get around to that in the future. But they actually started spraying the flooded areas with neurotoxin agents that cause brain damage. So you could look more into that. And I think that can be symbolic of the waters turning into blood, because you better believe whatever they're putting into the water is going to find its way into everyone's water. This is going to bring about the famines that we talk about. Excuse me. So I'm back with you. We're stopping off on a sea blood, and it says that the sun darkens. Richard from Boston also covers that technology that they have to darken the sun. And that's something we want to pay attention to. Will the sun be darkened for 3 days? Will it be as a result of this alignment, or will it be as a result of their doing? That's something to research. You know, of course, it's not going to be dark for 3 days, right? So if that do happen, we know it'll be their doing. Let's move on. The abyss open. The army, which is the military, we can see. Now, when the abyss open, that's symbolic, I think, of this whole event being complete, because they saying that this is a gateway. This is a portal. This is an opening into a new age, a new paradigm. So the abyss opens. According to the Bible, the earth is tossed into the lake of fire and the New Jerusalem rolls out. The abyss opens, and this will be followed by great wars. Think about North Korea and think about number 6 army. And let's move on. Disease. We know that this is going to all bring forth disease as a result of the previous cataclysms, of the famines, the floods, the earthquakes, the wars. Is going to be disease as a result. And again, pretty much all the way to Babylon. We don't have to go over this. It's just repeating cataclysms. And you end up the last one, Babylon. Again, the baby coming from the loins of the woman, symbolizing a new birth. Like I said, after the storm will be newness. After the storm will be a rainbow. A rainbow is an arch. That's new life, pregnancy, a baby. Babylon is the last step on the list. And now we can remove this chart. So if you think about the witch's new year, you can actually see here, you can see here that new moon that I spoke about is going to take place. All right. The moon is going to be new for 3 days. You remember the calendar that I showed you, and you can see here a dark moon to a new moon on this chart here. Let's look at the size. I know you can't see my mouse pointer, so let's go to the September 21st, which is pointing westward. Look at this like a compass. We're going to look at west. West is September 21st. That's recollection. You can see it's the matriarch. And when you think of matriarch, think of Virgo with an archbow or a scepter, Leo with a bow and arrow, or matron with an arc. If you remove Leo, like I was telling you earlier, the moon goddess with her arch. Whenever you see the moon goddess sitting in the moon with an archbow, they're just showing you the archbow is Leo with the scepter, but they just don't have a lion. You can look at this in different ways again. So her hands is raised because she's holding the scepter, actually holding it with Leo. But in the biblical story, it has just Leo or the line of Judah, Jesus, swinging the scepter, slaying the dragon. So we just going with that, but we're also showing you how it works for all of the stories, because it's all the same. And see, what you're looking at now is Celtic symbolism, or the witches' calendar as well. You can link this to theirs. This is the Tibetan wheel. This is the Mayan sun calendar. They had to throw the sun on it, but the Mayans didn't call it the sun calendar. It was more of their great year calendar, their 7-year calendar, or every time this celestial event happens. I'm not saying it happens every 7 years. I'm saying that 7 is the number of completion. And however this thing reoccurs, linked to the number 7 in numerology or septos. And we see so many 7s popping up all over the place at this time. We also see after 7 is 8, and 8 means just starting over again. Because when you get the 9, it's a spiral, start over again, and you go to the numbers repeating themselves from 1 again, 10, 11. You know what I mean? So, 8 and 9 are really glyphs. All of these numbers are glyphs. So 7 is really the end of the number system when you're dealing with macrocosm or celestial events. For example, the 7 days of the week, 7 wandering stars, you have 7 chakras. So let's keep that in mind. 7 is the Sabbath. And we look at this chart in front of us and we look at West, and it's September 21st. Now let's work our way on upwards, going toward the dark moon in the top left corner. And this is called the Samhain, which I'll be going into the practice of Samhain. Samhain can be translated to Sabbath, I think, and I'm guessing on that because it's linked to this same event. Now, Samhain is just this event, this people celebrating this event in a different Celtic culture. So Samhain is the old age of death. You see here the ancestors is showing you here, because this whole celestial event ends October 31st. All right. So the hallowing or Halloween, you see here on this wheel, we're in the top left corner. It's the ancestors, the time to think about the dead, and the moon will go away. Remember the new moon. It gets dark for 3 days round about this time. And we move on because we're in the time of death right now. Coming from September to December is 3 months. And that's another microcosm of the 3 days that the moon will be new. This 3 is a trinity as well, you want to keep in mind. Remember, 3 plus 7 is 10, where the numbers repeat again. 10 is the binary code. 7 and 3 is very, very important. The number 73 and 7 and 3. So 7 is the cornerstone or the angle, and 3 is the trident or the trinity. So we keep moving up here, and we find that we find ourselves where, okay, the dark moon would be equivalent to the death time that we're in now. Like I said, there's going to be a storm before the rainbow. Now, when we move on to north, this is Alban, Arthurian conception, incarnation. So think about that, incarnation. And this would be December 21st during the time of December 20th to the 23rd, which is, around the Christmas time. It's called Yule. In fact, if you pay attention to Celtic symbolism here, what you're looking at is the same thing. Here is the wheel of the year. I think this is the Jewish concept again. From September 21 to the 24th, which we're looking forward to here now, they call it Mabon, the Feast of the Trumpet. Remember, Donald Trump. You see where Mabon is to the left. We're looking west from the 21st, 24th, and we go back to our witches wheel. We're looking west. You can see that would be the time of matriarchy or the time of the goddess going to war with the dragon, the time of the dragon slayer. And when we move on about that time, Samhain starts November 1st, as you can see there, which would be the equivalent in this thing of death, because after this, when the dragon is slayed, we're going to be casted in that 7-year tribulation. This is, okay. So we move on, we move past north, which is incarnation. All right. And we see where that is on our wheel. But one thing I want to point out is The next one we go to is Mbok. You look in the top right corner, Mbok starts, and that's the children. That's the children. So that's when we go back to the rainbow after the storm. That's after this 7-year period end. But if you look at the Gregorian calendar, after December 2017, February 2nd would be a microcosm of what's going to happen 7 years from now, around about 2022. I'm going to say, yeah, round about 2022 to 2023. So 2022 is a trinity, 222, which is going to be 6. And 6 is sex. So around about that time, when we reach 6 years from now, that's symbolizing going into pregnancy. And when you reach 7, that will be birth. So you see, if you look at this wheel, February 2nd, we're dealing with microcosm. Mbok is early childhood, 7 years. If you look at the corner here, you will see that it has 7 years. So on a microcosm, February the 2nd, Gregorian calendar, we'll see a new moon in the sky. But that new moon, 7 years from now, 7 years from that new moon that we're going to see February the 2nd, then the moon going to give birth to a whole new area. Jerusalem hasn't came yet. After the beast is slain, it's going to be a 7-year period before everything get back straight. And these 7 years going to be the most trying times of our lives. So when you think about the word trying, that means challenging. Trying is T-R-Y, but it's T-R-I, dealing with Trinity, or tribulation, or trial and tribulation, trying times. And that's going to be starting from the west here, September 21st, all the way to February 2nd, where we have a new moon. But we're going to be into this kind of dark tribulation period for 7 years, as you can see according to this Celtic wheel, and this is called Mbok, and it's the microcosm of this would be a new moon in February 2nd. So when that new moon happened in February 2nd, 7 years from now, shit's gonna be more better. 7 years from now, the tribulation period will be over, because as a result of all of this mayhem that's going to take place after this event, is going to be a 7-year period of a chain of events, where September 23rd is like the spark off. If you think of a domino effect, September starts off this domino effect that's we're going to be seeing for the next 7 years, and there are going to be more great celestial events in the sky after this during this 7-year period. They're going to be having a hard time to explain. Neil deGrasse Tyson is not going to be able to just drop a microphone for this one. So they're going to have to come now with war tactics and go ahead and start getting physical. And like you said, a beast going to be exposed because his time is up. The New World Order system is over. It started 7,000 years ago. Again, this number 7 is just all over the place. So as you can see here, Mbok can be, think of Mbok and think of embryo. Think of pregnancy. New moon, meaning new life. So 7 years from now, think of all of this 7-year period as a storm, where we've been attacked with hurricanes and weather. And then 7 years from now, they're going to stop. But it's going to be a lot of people die. It's going to be a lot of things happen 7 years during this 7-year period, because they're trying to actually bring the book of Revelation to life, when really the ancestors didn't have to worry about none of the stuff we're going to see, because everyone on the earth understood this was just the great year. The Mayan knew this. The Dogon knew this. The Egyptian knew this. The Aztecs and the Olmec knew this. And I'll be going into that in the future. So 7 years from that new moon next year in February, we'll be into a time of peace. And again, you see emphasis to early childhood here. And you're going to see a microcosm of that 7-year period play out very quick on September 23rd when Virgo gives birth to Leo and they slay the dragon. But after that slaying, it's the birth. Think of a 9-month pregnancy. Think of pregnancy takes place in 9 months. Then the baby is born. But think of September on the Gregorian calendar is month 9. So it's pregnant. We're going into harvest time, pregnancy time. I mean, you know, the end of the harvest and the second harvest of the witch, where there's certain crops that they said grow under the new moon. The time of the psilocybins and the shamans. But we'll get into all of that in the future as well. So 7 years from that new moon next year, okay, is the storm ending and the birth, which is the rainbow that takes place after the storm. Remember, pregnancy hurts, but at the end of the storm, there's a rainbow, that arch, that belly, that pregnancy. So now we're going to move on here. And what is this? Because, yes, this is just goes into Bridget, the goddess of the triads, which is another personification of this moon goddess or this virgin goddess, who shine bright. When you say bright, the word bright comes from the goddess Bridget. So if you look at her name, Brigid, that's also why we get the word bride. The bride is the woman. She shine bright with her sun. Remember, when you go back to this concept, she's crowned with the light of the sun. The sun is on her head. She's clothed with the sun. She's the matriarch. All right? She's the matriarch. So her son enforces her law. She's Ma'at, and we're the policemen or the archangels of Michael, remember. And we're going to get into that and show you how this ties into with the archangels as well. So stay with me, guys, and thank you for tuning in. I didn't mean to pull this up, but I might as well go over it. If you look at the name Bridget and look at the word bright, B-R-I-G-H-T, remember that that H can be pronounced as I. So when you think of the word bright, remember that the I don't have to be bright, it can be Bri. So Brigit. When you look at the word bright, B-R-I-G-H-T, think of Brigit. B-R-I-G-H-T is Brigit. Today we say bright, but B-R-I-G-H-T is Brigit. And Brigit is a Celtic goddess of the triads, and the triads is just the Trinity or the DNA. Remember, the mitochondrial DNA, the goddess portal. The Celtic goddess is the Celtic knot, the Trinity or the triangle, the braid, neath. Okay, and look at here, it says heals children and adult and the birthing time. Remember, birthing time. We're going through a time of pregnancy, and pregnancy is a painful time. But at the end of this storm is a rainbow. This is a 7-year period. But 7 years is the amount of time it takes for a woman to have birth on a celestial. Think of Virgo. Remember, 9 is 7. September is the 7th month, but on a Gregorian calendar it's 9, and it takes women 9 months to have a baby. But it starts with the 7th month. And the doctor will tell you that you can have your baby anywhere from the 7th month of pregnancy all the way up to I think it's been birth latest the 11th or 12th month. And birth is early as the 7th month you can give birth. So remember what I told you. From 7 to 10 is 3 units. 7, 8, 9, let's say 8, 9, 10. That's 3 units. Remember those 3 days that the new moon is going to be taking place. Think about the 3 days where it took Jesus to resurrect. Okay? So you really want to keep this in your mind and see how this 7 tie into the 3 and how the 9 play into September being the 9th month on their calendar. And what we're telling you here about the virgin and pregnancy. So in the Celtic tradition, you can see this was brigid or bright, because the night sky is going to be the brightest as it's ever been during the 23rd. Objects that you've always seen are going to be appear like they're closer, and like they say in the Bible, the stars are going to fall onto the earth, because the people who made the Bible, when they saw this event, they spooked out. They didn't know that this was just a normal event that all of the ancients looked forward to. They thought the stars would literally fall onto the earth, but they're going to be at their closest point in alignment, and they're going to be bright as they've ever been. In fact, you go outside now and you can see that. I'm in a very metropolitan area, so I can't really see the stars unless I go to the mountains. But to you who have the luxury to look at the sky, do that. Okay, do that. So here you see she's linked to prophecy, because people have prophesied this event, but you're calling it prophecy. They know it because it can be calculated. It's nothing that's so much of a miracle. Okay, everyone predicted this or prophesied it. All right, so brigid is bright, and just giving you guys the triad is the Trinity, as you can see here, is linked to Hydra. Someone has Hydra on their wall, because remember that the woman wrapped around the serpent. Remember that, let me show you something. I think Rihanna did this too. Whenever you see the woman with the serpent, always remember this. Virgo is aligned with that beast. All right, remember, her scepter is her child. Remember that the night sky gave birth to the sun, and the sun shines in a linear light. And it shines as a result of that darkness behind it. And Leo is able to slay this dragon because this virgin gave birth to him. She assists him with slinging that rod, and her foot is anchored on the moon so they can get a good powerful strike and take his head off, because when you swing from the back of the foot and come down on his head, that baby is severed, and severed is 7, completion. He is done, finito. September is the month we in. Her pregnancy is linked to 9 months or 7, which is completion. Tie the pieces together yourself. Numbers are glyphs. So, now remember that when you see the woman with the serpent or the Nagini, always remember that the woman with the serpent who's pregnant is Virgo, who's pregnant with Leo, and you see the serpent just wrapped around her, because really that pole, remember, the pole that Leo is holding, some ancients looked at that snake Hydra being wrapped around that pole. So today we're dealing with Revelation, because in their story, for some reason, they don't like Hydra. I think Hydra is a beautiful constellation. But remember, the people who created the Revelation story, they were spooky people. They were fearful people, like our government, who don't like nature and think everything is to be scared of and just ruling people. But for some reason in their story, they're killing Hydra. But like I said, the serpent wrapped around the pole is Hydra being aligned with the planets. So Hydra is going to be aligned with Leo, who's holding a scepter with his mama. And I want you to remember that when you see the serpent wrapped around a pole. Remember, women are strippers, and they give the women a stripper pole. That's symbolic. The woman on the pole, or the snake wrapped around a woman. All of this is symbolic, because the stripper on the pole is Virgo holding the scepter. Remember, Leo's scepter goes all the way down to the moon, which is part of that alignment, and it ends on the foot of Virgo, so they're actually swinging it together. It's not just Jesus killing them. Okay, so If you take Leo away, it's just Virgo with the pole, holding the pole, like I showed you in the comedic picture. And that became to be the stripper on the pole. When you go to the strip club, everything we do is to desecrate the divine feminine. I told you, as above, so below. So when you see the serpent on the pole, or the woman on the pole, or the serpent and the woman on the pole, because a lot of art will show you that, I'm going to show you how they're speaking this language to us on the occult level. When you see the woman that's entangled in the serpent, always remember. All right? Always remember. So let me show you Rihanna. Rihanna did a ritual where she covered her body in serpents. And you better believe they understand what's going on. Even me Googling this, they have Hydra, and you showing here the ancient symbol of the serpent. The serpent spoke to the woman in the Garden of Eden. Remember that the serpent seduced the woman, and the serpent got her kicked out of the garden. What they're telling you is that when this thing dissipates, it's like the serpent kicking Virgo out of the garden, or kicking Eve. Remember, they told you in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, that the serpent spoke to Eve, all right, which is Virgo. And because he spoke to Eve, remember, because she's the one aligned with the beast, the great whore and the beast, remember. And because he spoke to Eve in the garden, that caused a dissipation, a movement, a migration, a dissipation, where they was kicked out of the garden and had to migrate. They had to scatter. So after the serpent speak to the woman and make war with the woman in the garden, when this celestial event is over and all of this alignment dissipates, you see that the woman is kicked out of the garden. You see, so you see the story of Genesis in this as well. It's the same story told over and over again, because Genesis is linked to genetics, and that snake is actually the DNA. Its head will grow back, and this story happens all over again. And this is the great year. The line of the tribe of Judah, which is Leo, the seed of the woman, where that line come from, which is Virgo, crushing the head of the serpent. So we move on over to Rihanna, and you see why the serpent is wrapped around a woman, for the same reason you're looking at this thumbnail. The beast that that woman is riding on is nothing but that serpent Hydra. They have it as that beast as well. So let me not confuse you, and let's keep going. Let's look at some more stuff. You see here the serpent wrapped around a pole. You see that with the medical symbol. All right, it's all over the place. They're telling us. Okay, so yeah, this all is making sense, but I don't want to get too far ahead. Mbok is what we was talking about. And what I want to tell you is Mbok, or Mbog, is Brigade's Day, a Gaelic traditional festival marking the okay, let me see here. I don't want to get too far in this Mbok thing. I really don't. We get the picture, but I just want to be quick here and deal with what we only have to deal with. You can research Mbok yourself. That's going to be the time we're going into this 7-year period, 7-year tribulation period. It's called Mbok. And yeah, you start researching it, and you link it to this great year. So, you know, you can do more research on Mbok. I guess I will be doing it in the future. That's one of those things right there where, if you've been following me, I ask you to take your notebook, write it down, and remind me in the future Brother Sanchez do a video on MBOT, this 7-year period. Send me the email and I will answer all of your requests and dedicate the video to you for reminding me. So I'm doing this process now. When you remind me, I dedicate that video for you. So I ask you to remind me in previous videos to do videos. If you forgot what they were, go back and look at them. And if you remind me, I'll do those. Now let me finish this here, because I don't want to get too far away with the MBOT. I want to get back to our scripture. So thank everybody again for tuning in. And we're going to get some more knowledge. Hold up just 1 second. So guys, hold up a minute. Let me make a few adjustments. Okay, good. Here we go. So think of this 7-year period. Think of the 7 seals that we just talked about. Think of the woman and the dragon. Let me so think about, oh man, where is it? Did I get rid of it? Hold on, guys. I'm screwing up. So I must have closed out a tab where I had the alignment with the full alignment. Shucks. That sucks. This maybe will do. Okay, we see Leo here near the head of Hydra. We know that Virgo is beneath his feet. We'll use this one for reference. I had a better one than that one, but we can use that one. We know that Leo has Virgo beneath his feet. We know that the Virgin has her foot on the moon and she's slaying the dragon. Keep that in your mind and think about this right here. So you see in this art right here, the Virgin with the moon beneath her feet, and they're both slaying the dragon, her and her son. The sun would be behind her head. Remember, when you see the moon goddess here, this is the Mary, the Queen of Heaven. You see in this art that she has the moon beneath her feet and the sun near her head. Does that look familiar? Yes, it does. Let's go back to our chart here. Look at Virgo. You see Virgo here, which is the Virgin, and she has the moon beneath her feet and the sun near her head. You see that here in this chart, and you see why you have art that looks like this. So she takes the form of a number 8. You see, when you have 2 circles, you got your MasterCard or your eclipse, your Vesica Pisces. And this is what this is. She would be the yoni in the middle. Remember that MasterCard symbol where those 2 circles meet? You get a womb, a football, a yoni. That's the woman. That's the Virgin. Here she is in the middle of those 2 circles here. The moon beneath her feet, sun near her head, which you're going to be seeing September 23rd in the sky. The Virgin with the moon beneath her feet, the sun on her head. And she's going to slay the dragon. You can see that happening right here. This is Satan and Hades. Satan hates Mary, some type of art that they got in Catholicism. But think about what I told you. It was 5 stars in the neck of Hydra. And you can see 5 heads right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's actually 2 more heads that you can't see because, like I showed you recently, that's part of the neck, your head. When you get beheaded, they cut you from the bottom of your neck. So remember that your neck, your head is from the top of your dome to the bottom of your neck. All of that is your head, okay? And your torso begins at your shoulders, not the top of the neck. So the neck and the head is all the head. And the 7 stars of Hydra, the 7 diadems would be in the head of Hydra. I showed that in the previous slide. I can't find that slide now, so just pay attention to this art. And you can see the virgin with that long rod slaying Hydra. Because remember, hold on, let's go back to, see, they gave the rod to Jesus. But before Leo was noticed as slaying the dragon, it was the goddess with a long rod going to his neck. Hold up a minute. So the dragon slayer, let me find some art for you to show you the God is actually slaying the dragon. That's in Revelation. But when you look at here, the sacred feminine reawakening, look at slaying the dragon. Hold up a minute. I'm going to have to get that slide back up. I'm going to have to get it back up, because otherwise you're going to get confused. So bear with me. Here. All right, this is a good one. We see Virgo, Leo aligned with the serpent. Now take away Leo. Forget Leo. All of the ancestors did not acknowledge the constellation of Leo. They had different ways to draw out the constellations at different times, but it was the same event. So when Leo wasn't acknowledged, people still acknowledge Virgo as a goddess. And one reason I think that is because when you look at the constellation of Virgo, it's so specific, it looks just like a goddess raising her arms. And that's why I always tell y'all about the goddess raising her arms. That's at the center of all cosmologies. Centering is synonymous with alignment. So the goddess is reawakening, like I just showed you on that picture, is what's going to happen on the 23rd. So goddess, look at Virgo with the arms raised. And here, all throughout pre-dynastic time, all throughout history, we always saw the goddess with her arms raised. And she'll be standing on the moon crest, holding the serpents in her hand. I'm going to stop at the 2-hour mark, and we'll start tomorrow with part 2 of this. So we have about 5 more minutes. Flat power. I love y'all to death. Let me show you some here. You see, you got the serpent goddess, and you see her wrapped around with the snake wrapped around her body. So you always remember that Hydra is aligned with the goddess, or the snake is wrapped around Virgo. You see how this dragon parallels the goddess and her son Leo, while she stands upon the moon and anchors herself to strike his head clean off. Okay? Now let's keep it moving. All right, so where is my picture what I had? Crap, man. All right, hold on a minute. Let me look for this again. Virgo, Leo, Hydra. September alignment. Here. So you see, again, like I told you, if you take Leo away, it's just the woman in the pole, or the stripper dancing on the pole covered in the snakes. I just showed you the serpent goddess. She's the serpent goddess because this constellation of Virgo has always aligned with this serpent, even before Leo was in the artwork or the drawings. That alignment was just her holding a rod, slaying the serpent herself. But I guess in our time, and I actually love the concept of her having her son do it, because it's still her doing it with the help of her son, showing you the masculine and feminine work together to slaying the beast, but still showing you the man's have to be humble because he couldn't slay the dragon without being born from her womb. So when you look at all this art of the woman being pregnant with the serpents on her, she's showing you how the matriarch ruled by giving birth to her son, keeping life going through the womb of the woman. And again, she's parallel to that serpent. She's parallel to that serpent. Okay, here's a great one. I'm actually going to take this and save it. This is a good one. You see how it's all aligned with Hydra? So this is how you get the woman covered in the serpent. And why the woman is linked to the serpent. This is how you get the mermaid. This is how you get this deity called Nuwa, who has the head of a woman, the body of a fish, or the body of a serpent. All right. Let's look at some more art. Here's a Nagini. Genie is genie or Genesis. You see on his head is 7 peaks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's really 7 peaks. I don't know how I'm counting. 8, 2, 4, 6, 7. Yes, 7. I can't count. So you got 7 peaks here, 3 here, 3 here, 1 here. Remember, 7 is the number. 7 is the number, septos. This is very deep stuff, guys. 7 peaks. Remember the 7 diadems in the head of the Hydra. Okay. Remember that the head includes the neck as well. All right. So 7 starting from the neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the body of a serpent. So yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 diadems in the head of the beast or the head of the dragon. And then he got 7 diadems in his head. And then he has the body of a serpent. And again, you got 7 points here. This the serpent goddess right here. You see she got the fez on her head, or the pope hat, or the hat of the shamans, the elf hat. The elf hat, remember the elf is El, the disciples of El or Santa, Nimrod. Nimrod is Nem is night. The word Nem can be translated to the serpent goddess or Nut or the virgin. And Rod is the spear that she slays the head of the dragon with. And you're looking at that in another way here. Remember, the head of the dragon has 7 points, and the tail of the dragon ends at the foot of the virgin. Okay, so you see that the goddess is just embodying the snake, since this is the ancestors' way telling you that Virgo is aligned with Hydra, just like you see here. This one is actually close up. You see Virgo and Leo, and then you see Hydra right here. It's kind of cut out of the picture, but you can still see it. And it's parallel to the virgin in her staff, in her rod that her and her son is holding. And so if you look at the head of Hydra and the tail, all right, it ends at the virgin's foot. So what the ancestors did, instead of just wrapping the serpent around the woman They just go on ahead and merged them together and made what's called a Nagini, which became Genesis, genes, or DNA. All this come through the woman. You see, the mitochondrial DNA is the foundation of all genetics. And you see the 7 diadems here, the 7 points that you saw a minute ago in the head of Hydra and the tail. And she's the goddess, the serpent goddess. She's just merged with the serpent, just like you see here. All right. Stripper on a pole. Or, you can look at this another way. And instead of saying that the rod of the virgin and her son is killing Hydra, like Revelation is telling you, you can look at it another way and you can say the serpent is just wrapped around a pole. All right. So this story can be told many ways. You can just look at it as the serpent wrapped around, the pole. And that's exactly what you get all through the ancient world. And at this point, I'm going to let you guys go, because the serpent wrapped around the pole takes us all the way back to Ma'at and the womb of the woman, which will be balanced in the scales on the 23rd, which is also Jesus on the cross. And I hope that I've blown your mind away, because this is what we're going to be witnessing. And I think it's awesome. So I'm going to leave you all at this time. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to go even deeper. And if you finish this entire series, I will be interacting with you guys, questioning and just having a conversation with you. So see you on part 2, which will begin as soon as I crank it back up. Y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all at some point this evening with part 2. Be on the lookout for it. Let everybody know how important this is. And peace and much love.